Liverpool are in serious trouble right now. From Arne Slot under pressure to Real Madrid making a move for Trent Alexander-Arnold. Things are getting intense at Liverpool FC. Add to that a worrying statement from Virgil van Dijk and big criticism from Alan Shearer. This is a story you don't want to miss. If you love Liverpool updates and breaking football news, hit that subscribe button now and stay ahead of every story. Sacking Arne Slot now is a non-starter, but Liverpool hierarchy cannot avoid the noise. The Echo's Liverpool FC correspondent Paul Gorst assesses the fallout from Saturday's 2-1 loss to Brighton. He words of Brighton boss Fabian Hürzeler, fresh from beating Liverpool 2-1 on Saturday lunchtime, would not have sounded out of place had they been uttered by his opposite number, Arne Slot. That's football, Hürzeler said. When you stay calm, when you don't overreact, when you avoid the noise, when you focus on the kind of things you can control, these sort of improvements can happen. It was a little over a month ago since the youngest head coach in the Premier League was being subjected to chants of being sacked in the morning. Such was the depth of frustration on the terraces of the Amex Stadium. But having won 4 of the last 5 since a 3-0 beating at Anfield in the FA Cup on February 14th, the mood around the South Coast has shifted, it seems. An embattled Slot might feel there is much to gain then from blocking out the noise and refusing to overreact himself, particularly when the other side of the international break offers so much for Liverpool to be excited by in the shape of 2 quarter-finals with Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain in the FA Cup and Champions League, respectively. Those sort of high-profile, glamorous cup ties near the business end of the campaign is what players and coaches work so hard to reach in the darker, colder months. And given how Liverpool have generally performed in both of those competitions compared to the Premier League, where they have now lost 10 times, it is becoming obvious this squad prefers the carrot over the stick. Turn on the bright lights of the Champions League and it's showtime. The Reds' victories over Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid and Inter is proof of that, as is the nature of their second-leg demolition of Galatasaray last week to secure passage to the last 8. But the bread and butter of the league, where negativity has generally polluted the discourse in the build-up most weeks, has been a much tougher watch for supporters, and 1 point from games with a rock-bottom Wolves, a relegation-threatened Tottenham and Brighton is simply not good enough of late. It gives Slot a heap of work to sort through when he returns to work at the AXA training centre during this international break. Those who work with the Dutchman speak of someone who remains on an even keel regardless of results, but Saturday's reverse was no one off. In its own vacuum, the loss at the Amex Stadium could be explained away by the absence of key men like Mohamed Salah, Alisson Becker and Alexander-Isak, to name just 3, and the short turnaround between games of around 62 hours did the squad no favours for a 430-mile round trip. Throw in the fact that Slot was forced to concede he was afforded just 20 minutes of training time as a result, and there were some mitigating factors for the performance and the result on the South Coast. But a pattern has long since been established this season at Liverpool, and had they not won their first 5 games back in the early weeks of the campaign, it beggars belief where the champions would be sitting in the Premier League table right now. Virgil van Dijk spoke about his frustration at a lack of consistency in the wake of Saturday's defeat, but the truth is, Slot and his players have been exactly that for too long. The same patterns and problems have blighted the head coach all season, and the malaise took firm hold months ago. Chelsea's own struggles mean the Reds may yet end this tortuous league campaign with something to show for it, but it will not be cause for celebration. It is a limp towards the promised land right now, and with Chelsea, Manchester United and Aston Villa all still to come in May, few chickens should be counted right now. When Liverpool searched for Jurgen Klopp's successor, it was one that took the best part of 6 months before Slot emerged as the preferred candidate, and the enormous dossier produced on the Dutchman by the club, which was said to have been around 60 pages, was indicative of how meticulous they were in their recruitment drive. It's why the idea of dispensing with Slot now and bringing in a stopgap appointment in the manner of United with interim boss Michael Carrick is simply a non-starter. The time for judgment will come at the end of the season. Unfortunately for Slot and those above him in the Liverpool hierarchy, however, attempting to avoid the noise as Hürzeler did so adeptly is becoming much harder to do at Anfield. Real Madrid take Trent Alexander-Arnold action after breaking code of conduct. Trent Alexander-Arnold was dropped from the Real Madrid side for the Madrid derby against Atletico after reportedly arriving late to training. Former Liverpool defender Trent Alexander-Arnold's challenging week continued on Sunday, with the defender reportedly omitted from the Real Madrid squad for disciplinary reasons. The fullback was surprisingly left out of the lineup for the Madrid derby against Atletico on Sunday evening. The 27-year-old has started all of Real's last 4 Champions League fixtures and before last week's victory over Elche had appeared in 5 consecutive La Liga matches. However, it was Dani Carvajal who Alvaro Arbeloa selected at right back on Sunday, with Alexander-Arnold reportedly dropped after turning up late for a training session. According to Spanish outlet Marca, Alexander-Arnold arrived late to one of the final training sessions of the week, with Arbeloa delivering a clear message with a decision focused on discipline and dressing room order. Marca adds that Arbeloa respected the team's code of conduct and made the necessary decision to maintain order within the group. The news comes following a week in which Thomas Tuchel chose to exclude the defender from his expanded 35-man England squad. I know it's a tough decision for Trent, as it is for Ollie Watkins and Luke Shaw. These tough decisions come from the job, Tuchel said on the decision. It's a sporting decision. We stick with Tino Livramento, Jed Spence and Jarell Quansah, who can all play at right fullback. It's a tough one. It's a big name, a huge talent and a big career. But I know what Trent can give us and have decided to stick with the players we have. Since leaving Anfield last summer, Alexander-Arnold has had a varied first season at Real, marred by 2 injury spells. He has featured in 25 matches for Los Blancos and received commendation for his performance in the Champions League double-header against Manchester City. Alexander-Arnold's recent return to the Real squad has quietened rumours about a potential summer departure, with Spanish reports previously suggesting that Arbeloa was not entirely impressed by the Liverpool academy product. The defender could face the Reds again this season, having played against his childhood club in November's Champions League match at Anfield. If the Reds triumph over Paris Saint-Germain and Real oust Bayern Munich in the quarter-finals, the 2 European powerhouses would clash again in the tournament's semi-finals. Virgil van Dijk makes worrying Liverpool Champions League admission, "I don't know what to say." Virgil van Dijk admits he is frustrated by Liverpool's inconsistencies after a 10th Premier League defeat of the season. Virgil van Dijk admits he is frustrated by Liverpool's inconsistencies after defending champions suffered their 10th Premier League defeat of the campaign in Saturday's 2-1 loss at Brighton and Hove Albion. Arne Slot's side responded through Milos Kerkez's smart finish after Danny Welbeck had opened the scoring at the Amex Stadium. But the Seagulls striker grabbed his second of the game after the break, condemning the Reds a damaging defeat in their quest for Champions League football next season. Van Dijk says he is irritated by having to deliver the same public rallying cries after such losses and accepts that the current form won't be good enough to finish in the Premier League's top 5. Games with rock-bottom Wolves, a relegation-threatened Tottenham Hotspur and now Brighton have yielded just 1 point in the last couple of weeks, and the captain says the whole squad have to improve or face missing out on the Champions League. My initial reaction is one of frustration. I think I have been repeating myself lately, Van Dijk said. It is the situation. I was also surprised when I was on the training pitch yesterday, Friday, and I only saw the amount of players that I saw. But that is the situation. So yes, it is tough. Listen, I don't know what to say. I said over the last months the same thing. We can't build on a good performance. That is something that has to change if we are to achieve what we are trying to achieve, and that is Champions League football. We are trying everything. We are trying to turn it around, and we are hopefully going to turn a corner, but it doesn't look that way at the moment. Obviously, we go away now to our different countries. Everyone has a responsibility to stay as fit as everyone can and come back ever better if that is possible. I would rather to try and win games, but the next one for me is against Norway. That will be my focus now. But the feeling I have, and the rest of the players should have, is frustration, because it is the same story now. It happened again. Van Dijk added, "I've been asked that question, what the issue is, many times this season, and it still didn't happen. It's down to us, and so we have to do it as players, as a group. If we change that, then obviously we can be a very dangerous force throughout the whole season. But at the moment, we are not. I'm going to Holland now, and everyone is going to different countries, and everyone has to look after themselves. Most of the players play friendlies as well, and then we come back and we have a very quick turnaround again because we are back on Thursday and play on Saturday. Early kickoff again, then PSG, Fulham and PSG again. Very intense days. Let's see how everyone comes back and embraces it. but no one wants to lose games and keep being in that cycle. I'm also frustrated for the fans. They travel all the way here early supporting us and we couldn't deliver again. So it's tough. A Liverpool squad without Alexander-Isak, Mohamed Salah and Alisson Becker was rocked further by an early injury to 17-goal top scorer Hugo Ekitike, who was forced off with a dead leg after a clash with former Reds vice-captain James Milner. When Hugo comes off and you look at the team, there was not a lot of runs in behind. Van Dijk said on the early exit of the France striker, there is not a lot on that side. That wasn't the issue why we lost, but it changed a bit of our game. When he made changes, the formation changed and the positions changed, and then you're asking different things. It's a combination of everything, but the matter of fact is that we can't build on a good performance that we had midweek. It was a very quick turnaround, but that is not an excuse of why we lost. It happened too many times, and if it keeps happening, then there is no chance of success. If there is still a chance, then I am always confident, but we have to do better, of course. And if we don't, then it is going to be very difficult. 7 more games and tough ones as well. So things have to change for us to deserve that as well. Luis Enrique looking to recreate beautiful memory when PSG faces Liverpool. Liverpool faces the reigning European champions next month, a little over a year after PSG eliminated it from the Champions League in the round of 16. En route to winning the trophy, Luis Enrique claimed Paris Saint-Germain is not the favourite to win its Champions League quarter-final tie with Liverpool, and added the reunion with the Reds will conjure beautiful memories. The English and French champions are set to lock horns over 2 legs next month, just over a year after their last 16 Champions League encounter, which PSG won on penalties at Anfield. That meeting pitted the would-be Premier League and Champions League winners and Europe's 2 most informed sides at the time. Indeed, Enrique predicted before the second leg that the winner of the tie would reach the final, a claim that proved prescient as PSG won the trophy for the first time. Speaking ahead of another clash with the Reds, Enrique said he is anticipating a huge challenge despite Liverpool's domestic issues this season. When Liverpool were the best team in Europe at the time, they were playing incredible football. I remember Arne Slot speaking very well about PSG at a time when nobody else was. The former Barcelona coach said before Saturday's win over Nice, it was very positive for us, a beautiful memory of a classic tie. We're looking forward to this quarter-final, first in Paris, then in Liverpool. I'm fortunate to have an incredible team and intelligent players. They know that in this type of game, there are no favourites. It'll be very positive for us to play these 2 games. Enrique also revealed he has yet to hear whether the clash with Lens, which falls between the 2 legs against Liverpool, will be moved. PSG's fixture with Nantes was originally due to be sandwiched between the last 16 encounter against Chelsea, but was moved by League One to allow the Parisians more time to focus on the Champions League tie. Providing a similar arrangement before the second leg against Liverpool would be ideal, especially given that Lens is currently competing for the title and trails PSG by just a point, although the reigning champions do have a game in hand. I would like to wait for more news, Enrique said when asked about the prospect. Every team wants to find the best conditions to play the competition, but we can also understand the interests of other teams. PSG returns from the international break with a home league match against Toulouse on April 3rd, 5 days before the first leg of the Champions League tie. The Reds travel to Manchester City on April 4th before flying to Paris. Alan Shearer slams Liverpool players and tells Arne Slot exactly what is missing after Brighton. Premier League legend Alan Shearer unleashed some vicious criticism of Liverpool's performance against Brighton and identified issues throughout Arne Slot's team. Alan Shearer has taken aim at Liverpool's players following their Premier League defeat to Brighton. The Reds recorded a 10th league defeat of the season as Danny Welbeck scored a brace, meaning Milos Kerkez's goal counted for little. Former Newcastle and England forward Shearer was scathing in his criticism of Arne Slot's side as he identified issues all across the pitch. The Match of the Day pundit noted that Liverpool had no threat up front after Hugo Ekitike's early exit due to injury. Shearer conceded that caused problems, as did Slot's need to cycle through fullbacks. But the 55-year-old believes Slot's team lacked intensity and had issues with their positioning across the pitch. There's no doubt that the situation with Ekitike upset them in terms of the rhythm and they had to change a few bits, Shearer said. But there were 3 different right-backs today. Clearly that doesn't help. But there was no pressure in midfield, no threat up front, and defensively the spaces in between were glaring. It was so obvious what was missing. The Premier League's top goal scorer suggested that Liverpool were bullied by the Seagulls at the Amex and claimed that Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konate were a mess. Shearer was wholly unimpressed. I thought they were outfought and they were bullied by Brighton, particularly defensively, he said. They went into it again with no width, and when Wirtz got the ball, he had no options to his right or left. He had to go straight down the middle. There was nothing really available for him. Welbeck bullied the two centre-backs. They were all over the place, he said. I thought they were really poor and all over the place. They really were. They were a mess. Slot did not want to offer excuses after the defeat on the South Coast, but was frustrated by his team's lack of creativity. He did appear to suggest Brighton had strength on their bench. However, I have a clear opinion what that's down to, but that's not what I'm going to say over here, Slot said when asked about his side's creative struggles. As I said, they were the better team and created more chances than us. Everything I say about this, people will see this as excuses, and I never like to use excuses after the game. Give credit to them, they were good. I think it was nice for their manager that he was able to bring Karu Mitoma in because he was quite good again. Blockbuster Liverpool deal for superb forward moves closer. A truly massive Liverpool transfer has taken a couple of steps closer. The Reds may have this one locked down. Just what are the chances of Liverpool signing Anthony Gordon from Newcastle United? The Reds have been linked with the player for years. He's a boyhood Red, after all. A deal nearly came to fruition in 2024 as Newcastle struggled against PSR regulations. They fixed their situation before needing to offload Gordon. However, but now things might be heading in the right direction. Liverpool are reportedly still interested in Gordon, with team talk making it clear that the desire is there. Notably, they appear to be making moves in that direction. The same report states that Cody Gakpo, the player standing in Gordon's way should he join, is being offered to other clubs by intermediaries. That's certainly a move towards the Scouser joining Liverpool. And there's another factor in play, Newcastle's form. They won't want to sell to Liverpool, but they've now dropped into the bottom half of the Premier League, with UEFA Champions League football next season looking near impossible. Any sort of summer rebuild will necessitate a major sale, and Gordon could be that player, especially if Liverpool are willing buyers. Sell Gakpo, and they absolutely will be. Anthony Gordon. Situation summary. Transfer speculation. Liverpool has reportedly received the green light to pursue a deal for Gordon, who is valued at approximately £100 million. While Newcastle previously warded off interest in 2024, intermediaries are currently gauging the market, and Liverpool views him as the ideal replacement for Cody Gakpo. Arsenal and Manchester City are also monitoring the situation. Gordon is contracted at St James Park until June 2030, giving Newcastle significant leverage in negotiations. Performance and recent match. Gordon has evolved into a versatile attacker this season, often featuring as a backup 9 inches under Eddie Howe. He has recorded 14 goals and 5 assists in 39 appearances across all competitions. In today's time where Derby, Gordon scored the opening goal in the 10th minute, but Newcastle ultimately suffered a 2-1 defeat to Sunderland. He was forced off early in the second half following a head knock. International status. Thomas Tuchel recently named Gordon in a 35-man England squad for the upcoming March friendlies against Uruguay and Japan. He is considered a lock for the 2026 World Cup squad.